It is Thursday, September 25th, and the Yankees were taking on the White Sox in the final game of a three-game set. With a win and a Blue Jays loss, they would take over first place in the American League East. Carlos Rodon was on the mound. He was trying for a career-best 18th win. My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is Pinstripe Territory.
Just wanted to talk, that's all.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm recording, the reason I'm wearing my sunglasses, I'm recording a little POV of behind the scenes of this show for social. So I'll take these off now. But Yankees pick up win number 91 on the season. And the AL East is coming down to the wire. But as we see in the chat here, the pitching for the Orioles is going to be tough this weekend. So the Yankees are going to have their work cut out for them. Both the Yankees and the Jays won tonight. So both teams have the same record, and I got a cat causing trouble up here that I got to take care of. Both teams 91 and 68 with 3 games to play. This was, a kind of a routine night. I thought we were going to be dealing with rain delays all night. Luckily, the game went uninterrupted. Carlos Rodon picked up his career best 18th win. He is now 18-9 on the season. We had, he also got his 200th strikeout, by the way. We had Aaron Judge set the American League record for intentional walks with 36. Am I the only one who thinks that a 100-loss team like the White Sox should at least be competitive and pitch to the guy who's trying to win an MVP? I don't know. I mean, I get you're trying to win the game. I admire that. But, some things, are just important. And to pitch to the guy would be competitive. And they just handed him a couple of free passes tonight. We had an enormous bases clearing double by Giancarlo Stanton. And that's been huge because he is in the middle of a funk right now. And any big knocks that he can get going that gets his confidence kind of rolling is going to be good for the Yankees because we need him in the playoffs. But with this win, the Yankees, as Michael K. just said, have assured themselves that even if they win the wild card, they will open up at Yankee Stadium. Obviously, you want to win the division. You want to get the first round bye. I am one of these people who is not worried about the layoff. The rest, I think, will be good for Volpe. I think it'll be good for the bullpen. And I think the Yankees did fine with it last year. It might be a couple of days for guys to get their swings right, whether it's Giancarlo, whether it's Cody Bellinger. And Brian Bashman says, Judge set the Major League record for intentional walks by a non-steroid user. But we're looking at a pretty intense next 3 games. Rogers on Friday night is going to be tough for the Orioles. So let's get to the recap here.
All right, let's go.
Key takeaways. Game 159 of 162. And we've been here for all of them except one, I think. We had one internet outage. But Yankees took the lead in the first inning, but I would say that was kind of a wasted opportunity because, once again, bases loaded, nobody out, and they only got 1 run. Hard shots from Grisham and Judge. RBI went to Ben Rice. Judge, 30 doubles now. I've always felt like 30 doubles, and my cat is going absolutely bonkers tonight, and I don't know why she's being so crazy. I've got to figure out a way to lock her out of here when I do this show. Going psycho. Chewing on stuff. Anyway. White Sox tied it up in the second, and then they went out in front on a 2-run home run by Michael A. Taylor in the 4th inning. Volpe made a pretty good play coming in. He made a couple of good plays on those slow rollers in tonight, and I thought Paul O'Neill explained it well. Charging the ball much better. Being much more aggressive. And tonight, quick transition to get the ball off to first base, which is something we saw a lot from him earlier in his career, but had gotten kind of away from this year. 5th inning, we got the big double by Giancarlo Stanton, 3 RBIs. Nice job by Ben Rice to score from first on that play. Jared Williams says, you have a pet? I have 3 cats and a dog. And 2 of the cats are kind of young. They're in that 3-year-old phase, and they're constantly terrorizing my studio now when I'm working. So that's no good. Anyway, Wells drove in the 5th run with a double off the right field wall. He smoked it. He's got 70 RBIs now. So even though his average is only, I believe, 221 after that, he has been productive. 21 homers, 70 RBIs. You'd like the OPS to be a little bit higher, but for the most part, he's driven in runs, and he's gotten a lot of productive outs, which is not something that a lot of Yankees do. He I believe, is tied for the league lead in sacrifice flies. Sorry, I don't have the research in front of me. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head, but he's had a lot of them this year. We survived a Devin Williams outing in the 8th inning, 2-run lead. He put 2 runners on, gave up a piss rod to left field, but Bellinger ran it down, and then the Yankees nailed it down in the 9th, and they win their 91st game.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
Got a super chat here from Jim Sherlock, who says, do you think the Yankees lose in the playoffs or no? I mean, it's impossible to say. I mean, it's the hottest team that wins usually. I think their biggest challenge will be the Red Sox. I don't think they match up well with the Red Sox. If they get through the American League, you don't want to face the Dodgers. They're getting healthy. Brewers they've had a lot of wins this year. I think they got like 96 wins, something like that. But the Yankees handled them the last couple of years pretty easily. They've blown them out a couple of times. They don't scare me that much. I think the Yankees have their number. We'll see. I don't really know. I just kind of want to take it in and enjoy it. But the Yankees win this one. Let's give away the belt. No surprise. Big G with 3 ribbies picking up the belt. That is belt number 7 on the year for him. He pulls ahead of Judge. He pulls ahead of Bellinger. And hopefully that's a stepping stone towards a really good postseason for him. I still don't love a lot of the swings he's having. You can see him kind of pulling off, kind of falling off balance. I've always felt like when Giancarlo's at his best, he's completely balanced. And a lot of times he's hitting the ball to right center. Like a lot of his home runs when he's going well are to right field. And then what happens is, teams become wary of that. And so they try and get in on him. And then his bat is so quick. He's got some of the best bat speed in Major League Baseball. He'll just pull the hands in, and that's when you start to see the home runs to left. I think what we want to see him do before the end of the season, maybe Friday, Saturday, you want to see him pop a dinger to right center. You want to see him hit a line drive over the second baseman. You want to see those 2 things. And that will tell you that he's, getting it together. And if the Yankees win the division and they have that first round bye, he will have time to get his swing right off the trajectory machine. And you never know. Maybe he's not feeling 100%. This is a guy who missed a lot of time with those elbow problems. He's also got a chronic leg issue. We know that. So, maybe he could use a rest and then come out swinging again. And just the fact that it will be the playoffs and how well he's done in the playoffs will hopefully, and I know it can, give him the jolt of confidence he needs to just be like, hey, turn the page on that slump I had in September. Let's get going. But I'd much rather he slump in the beginning and middle of September than here at the end of the season. So big hit for him tonight, and hopefully this gets him going in the right direction. We got another super chat here from Rez Dog. Says, these kind of games scare me because the White Sox had nothing to lose. 100% correct. And, the Orioles, same thing. They got good pitching, and that's going to be trying to affect this race. The 610 Stig says, meanwhile, garbage teams keep pitching to Raleigh and padding his home run total. Judge hasn't really been pitched to in a month. Judge hasn't been pitched to all season. Got 36 intentional walks this year. New record. I mean, look at the on-base percentage. It's over 450. Everybody wants to talk about average, right? What's the most important thing we talk about in baseball these days? OPS. And Judge is beating him there. And Judge is a good defender. Cal Raleigh's not that great a catcher. Anyway, the 610 Stig says, because Raleigh hits 245, they're not scared. 100%. That's a great comment. All right, let's talk a little bit about Carlos Rodon, who gets an honorable mention tonight. Solid metamorphosis from when he first got here, for sure. And solid start tonight. Quality start. Picked up his 18th win. That's a career best. He finishes his third season with the Yankees, 18-9, 3.09 ERA. I thought he had kind of a quick hook tonight, just 82 pitches. But, again, quality outing. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. His next start will be in the postseason. And he is now officially halfway through that contract. When Rodon signed that massive 6-year, $162 million deal, the expectations, at least for me, and I know a lot of you, was that he would slot in as the number 2 guy and just be a great number 2 to Garrett Cole for the duration of that deal, or at least the first 4 or 5 years. And then in spring training, he has the chronic back issue. He's a little bit overweight, and he struggled that whole first season. And you're thinking, oh no, is this another Jarrett Wright? Is this another Carl Pavano, another Jacoby Ellsbury, another deal that's just not going to work out? I mean, he was a freaking meatball factory, right? But to his credit, he turned it around. He finished out that first season with that 8-run in the first inning performance against the Royals. And then, turned his back on Matt Blake. And you're thinking, this guy's just got a bad attitude, whatever. And I was thinking, you know what? Get rid of him. He is never going to put it together with the Yankees. But to his credit, he has proved me wrong.
I've never been so wrong in my whole life.
Fast forward to last year, win 17 games, or was it 16 games? 16 games, I believe. And, I mean, the ERA was under 4, but it was really a great start and then a bad middle, and then he was okay down the stretch. And he had a couple of good playoff outings, a couple of stinkers. This year, he's been very consistent all year long. First couple of starts were very tough. He was serving up the meatballs, but he has locked it in, and I feel very confident with him on the mound going into the playoffs. All right, let's take a couple of voicemails here.
Reaction.
Here's Willie.
Derek, this is Willie. I think Judge should be the MVP, and this is why. Raleigh is not getting pitched around like Judge is getting pitched around. Wally is getting cookies right down the middle of the plate. Judge's average is 80 points higher than Raleigh.
80.
If you look at the home runs, left-handed, Raleigh's pulling the ball. Right-handed, he's pulling the ball. Judge is hitting home runs outside of the strike zone also. And he walks a lot more than Raleigh. He's been intentionally walked a lot more than Raleigh. And I think if Judge is being pitched like Raleigh is being pitched, Judge would have more than 60 home runs.
100%, and that is a great call from Willie. I agree with every single point he made. Got a call here about Devin Williams.
Neil from the Bronx. Looks like Devin Williams found his groove. He's been looking pretty solid his last few outings, and we're going to need him come October. So let's hope he keeps up this good work.
Yeah, I mean, big outing for him. I mean, he did scare us to death, put a couple of runners on, but he got it done, and he's definitely been better as of late. I think he's thrown a little bit harder too. We've seen some 96s. We've seen him, lock in the command a little bit better, but something still scares me about, the postseason in a tight situation. Will he be able to, keep it up in a really tough situation? Here's a call from Joe.
Hey, Derek. Joe from Jersey. Another weird call. I always give them. But question for you. The Mariners have the Rockies and then the Dodgers, they don't have anything to play for, I believe. Now, they hate the Yankees. Do you think they'll throw Cal a couple cream puffs just to piss Judge off, just so he passes Judge? What are your thoughts on that? I don't know. I want your thoughts on that.
I appreciate the
Take
call.
care.
I don't think so.
Work.
These guys get paid on their stats, right? They don't want any of their stats to be worse. They don't want to, give up more home runs than they should. They don't want to give up more runs on their earned run average than they should. It's tough. It's tough for competitors at that level to just be like, oh, I'm going to give this guy a home run just because I don't like Aaron Judge. I don't buy it. I appreciate the call, but I don't think that that's a thing. And here is Sam.
Hey, Derek. Sam from Miami here. One thing I'm a little worried about is the Yankees seem very intent. Like, there's a lot of hype around them trying to get win the AL East. And I think, like, that's pretty unlikely, all things considered. And I worry that, like, if they win it, fine. Like, there's momentum going into the playoffs. But if they don't, which is more unlikely, everyone will kind of be let down. The energy will kind of sag, and it'll ride into the playoffs. And teams can win on momentum, but they can lose on a lack of momentum. I'm just worried about that, you know. I think it's getting a little bit too much hype when we should just be like, we're just chill about it, you know. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts. Thanks. Bye.
Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely letdowns in sports, but I don't know that I don't know that I agree with your premise that it's less likely for the Yankees to win. I think that they're going to handle business against the Orioles. And I see the Orioles beat the Rays tonight, but the Rays are 2 games better than the Orioles. And the Rays are just, I think, a tougher opponent, tougher matchup than the Orioles. I think that the Rays will take at least 1 out of 3 from the Jays, and I think the Yankees are going to sweep the Orioles. I think the Yankees are going to run the table. I think that the momentum is such that they'll find a way to beat Rogers on Friday night, and I think they'll lock it in and they'll win both over the weekend, and I think they're going to win the division. A quick word from the guys at Foul Territory about Arena Club, and then back with your final thoughts.
Todd Father, you and me grew up in Jersey. We liked to collect cards, but the way the process got was ridiculous. You open up a pack, there's a bunch of cards you don't care about. Then you want to get certain ones graded. Takes forever, right? Then you want to maybe sell one. It's such a to-do. Arena Club has been the solution for us.
Arena Club has been a solution for everybody. You go online, go to Arena Club, and you check out what they have. Put a little cash down, and you might get one of the best cards that you've ever seen in your life, an autographed card. And guess what? If you don't like the card, easily you could sell it back and make a little cash. You never know what to expect. It's a cool way of doing it. You're going to get a surprise every time. And if you're into cards, this is something you really need to get into.
Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul and use code FOUL like Todd Father's talking about with those slab packs. Every pack has a grail that's at least 20x the price of the pack. Check it out.
All right. Few more comments here. Brian says he doesn't think that anybody dislikes Aaron Judge. He's a nice guy. I know some callers that don't like him, though. I'm calling you out, Steve from Farmington, Maine. Eddie Trinidad says Rays will relish being the spoiler. Oh, man, I hope so. And I agree with you. I think they will. That seems like their MO. Brian says Detroit's last series is at Boston. Houston's is at the Angels. Detroit may not make the playoffs. Is that true? Are they? Oh, man. The math looking at, they got 86 wins. The Astros have 85. And Red Sox 87. You are right. Guardians 86. Wow. That's a great stat. I would be absolutely blown away if the Tigers pull the inverse of what they did last year, where they had this amazing run to make the playoffs, and this year they have an amazing collapse. Unreal. 610 Stick says it's not so much teams giving Cal meatballs, it's garbage teams. The M's are playing, not pitching around him, and garbage teams intentionally walking Judge. Judge generally hits the Orioles pretty well. We'll see if they go after him. But I feel like the Yankees are going to win all 3 games this weekend, and I think that they're going to lock in the American League East. One more time from Mr. John Sterling.
Ball game over. Yankees win.
Ryan pointing out that the Tigers might have to pitch Scooble on Sunday. Wow.
You're a winner.
What a collapse that would be. What a collapse. But, hey, Yankees win their 91st game. I think a lot of us doubted they would win that many games this year, but we'll have the over-unders. Frankie is going to join the show on Sunday with Terrence, and we're going to have a little year-end wrap-up where we'll determine the regular season belt winner, and then we will discuss the over-unders that we had. It was me and Frankie and Terrence and Eric Kratz, and I think Kratzy's winning, but I'll let Frankie break out the full final score, final tally. But one of those was the win total. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you tomorrow. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Check out nydesigns.shop for some great merch. Support our sponsors. It helps keep the show going. And you can find us on all major audio platforms, so be sure to subscribe there too. But most importantly, come back again soon. We'll see you next time.